About a year ago, if any of you actually remember my old videos or watched them, I made one video in particular that, looking back on, I'm not very proud of. Mostly because I just don't agree with half of what I said anymore. That video was my video on why superhero films should be considered cinema, because, that was stupid a year ago. Anyway, a week ago, The Batman finally hit theaters, and oh boy, that's cinema. I bring this up because, one, I want to talk about how damn awesome the movie was, and two, I want to reflect on how my views of superhero movies have changed over the year I've made videos. So first, let's talk about The Batman. It only took 2 damn years for this movie to come out since it was revealed, and was it worth the wait? No, not really. Just kidding. It was a masterpiece if I've ever seen one. Dark, emotional, cool as fuck, and it was everything a Batman film should be. Matt Reeves and Greg Fraser created one of the best looking action movies of all time and one of the most beautiful films visually I've ever seen. Robert Pattinson, more like the best Batman because, God, he was the GOAT. It only took 60 years to finally get an emo Batman on screen, but we finally did it. The entire cast, the whole crew, everyone gave their all to make something truly special, an unforgettable film experience, and one of the best comic book adaptations I've seen in a while. So, what does this have to do with one of my old video essays? Well, that stupid old video essay was basically me saying that I don't agree with Martin Scorsese on his stance on superhero films. You know, the old, that's cinema. And yeah, it was a stupid video. I was blinded by my need to shill for Marvel. But once again, what does this have to do with the Batman? Well, it's because the Batman kind of changes things. Recently, I've been having mixed feelings over most of the recent superhero films. For all the great stuff in Loki, Shang-Chi, Peacemaker, which was pretty great by the way, there's stuff like Black Widow and What If coming out. Not necessarily all terrible, but they don't try to do anything great. And honestly, Marvel's stuff, with some exception, has been feeling increasingly empty. You see, when Marvel's at its peak, like in Loki or Shang-Chi or in the last hour of Spider-Man No Way Home, you can feel it. But a lot of the time, it really doesn't try its best, like in the first half of Spider-Man No Way Home or the last episode of WandaVision. And this is where the Batman comes in. The Batman is single-handedly leaps and bounds ahead of almost every other superhero film. The only things I think are better than it are Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 2. But don't let that change the fact that I think this movie is the definitive Batman movie. As much as I love Nolan's take on the trilogy, the Batman fundamentally understands the characters more, and has so much more style in doing so. The Batman is better looking than quite possibly every single thing Marvel Studios has ever made so far. But to me, one of the best qualities of this movie is that it doesn't try to be anything more than its own movie. It doesn't try very hard to set up sequels, it doesn't make stupid references that'll make you question your sanity, and it doesn't make stupid jokes every 5 minutes. No. The Batman is entirely the Batman, if that makes any sense. Matt Reeves didn't care what anybody else was doing. He was just focused on making a story that tells us how Bruce Wayne's grief forged him into a loner whose only outlet is violence, and how he could grow to become something more. And that focus on emotion over spectacle, the willingness to make something that doesn't try to cater to every single demographic, is what makes the Batman special. As much as I love the MCU, as much as I've enjoyed growing up with it for the last decade, it needs a change. Because even I'm getting tired of the same formula, nearly ruining what could be a great showcase of filmmakers' styles and a love for these characters. And that's why the Batman is important. It signals to Marvel and DC what audiences want, that they want more. They want different styles, they want depth, they want emotion. And I think that's why the Batman could very well be the exact thing that the superhero genre could use.